We start off with the standard this morning. JKIA, 375 billion shillings deal. It is chivayo. They call it a weighty matter. Hata standard hapa amekuja sana. No, and it's a weighty matter. The government has awarded a stake in the 375 billion shilling JKIA expansion to a farm owned by Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo. And I think that's where the weighty matter is. Are they talking about his weight? Or his level of influence on African presidents, probably. So he's a familiar face at State House with close ties to President William Ruto, reviving scrutiny of the project months after the collapse of the Adani deal amid public outrage. So from Adani to Chivayo. The new arrangement sees Chivayo linked interests brought in as partners of a Chinese consortium, a move already raising questions over how he secured a foothold in such a sensitive national project. Critics point to his prior fraud conviction. So ni kama tu Adani. Adani had been convicted huko US. Chivayo pia kona mambo yake. Lakini wanasema, while the Law Society of Kenya is demanding full disclosure of the contract terms and warning against what it calls a repeat of the same opacity under a different name. This is a story on page 4. And you know, now people are saying, okay, fine, can we see the deal? Tuonyeshe tu your deal. It's the same thing we were asking about that quarantine facility. Yeah. Even the court asked, can we see the deal? What exactly have you agreed to? Now the Law Society is saying, okay, show us this deal. Fine, umepatia, it's a weighty matter. We can actually see it's about weight. It is Chivayo, but it's a very weighty matter. Let's see the deal. Yeah. The same way we had issues with Adani, and the president had no choice but to listen to us. Why is he not? Okay, let's say probably you should listen to Kenyans as well this time around. Yeah. Just show us the deal. What exactly is this rather weighty deal, Wicknell Chivayo deal, all about? Yeah,
they call it a fraudster's farm. Yeah, you're Chivayo. So already we're a Zimbabwean fraudster's farm secures stake in 375 billion JKIA deal. But it's not that any farm, it's a fraudster's farm.
Yes. Everywhere you see this guy is always at State House, either in Zimbabwe with Mnangagwa, he's with Ramaphosa, he's with African presidents everywhere. And people have been asking. And I remember they did this story, and he was in front page again. And they were asking, okay, who exactly is this guy? How come he's always at State House, or at least he frequents State House? He seems to be having direct access to State House. Yeah, wajaribu kwenda hapo gate B ama gate D uone kama tuulizo kama unajua nani huko ndani.
Deep down you want to be Chivayo. Some of us.
It's a rather weighty matter. Yeah. So that's the story on page 4. Other quick stories. Yeah, some Zimbabwean fraudsters farm. Unajua they're not even hiding. Hata waiki ati parenthesis or anything. Wanasema tu fraudsters farm. But he's not ati fully in charge of the whole deal. His business is linked to, his interests are represented in the deal. That a different company has the deal. Lakini kweli, how come we do not know anything about this deal?
Do we really ever know about any deals in this country? Unless, you know, tumesikilia from a third party. As you see even the issue of Ebola. Yeah. If not for posts from Washington Posts and US media outlets, would we have known about that deal?
So if we don't bother about Ebola to airport to shughulike nayo. Okay, we move on swiftly. Some politics on the page 2 of this paper. Matiang'i warns of ID fraud. That's the ID story that kicked off yesterday. Watu wanasema kuna watu from Ethiopia, Uganda and Somalia who are getting IDs. But I love this story on page 3. Yesterday, the UK Prime Minister announced that social media in the UK has been banned for people who are 16 years and below. Wewe najua mtoto wako hapa Kenya probably has a Facebook or TikTok page already, or even, what do you call it, Instagram. Yeah. Children as young as 2-3 years old already have accounts here in Kenya. In the UK, that's not allowed. No internet use, no social media for anyone below 16 years. Yes. Do you agree with that?
It's a good thing because as a 16-year-old, ulikuwa na simu at 16 years old.
Utoe wapi?
Utoe wapi? Right. I had my first phone at immediately after Form 4. I think I was 17.
Yeah, 16. Well, I was 16. The only phone access we had, you know, there were landlines. Mobile phones weren't there. So yes, we had access to the phone. But ni ile lazima mzazi akisikia simu anauliza ni nani amepiga hiyo simu? Ulikuwa unaongea na nani?
Yes. Yeah. So I think this is actually a good thing for the UK. If Kenya we were to implement this, it will also save kids from addiction.
Yes.
A lot of say dangerous content as well.
It is said that even the school fires, the way they get to learn that a different school has already have an incidence of fire and they've already been sent home, they will learn because there are many people within schools, learners, who are 16 years and below who have phones in school.
In schools?
Yes.
And schools allow
phones.
that?
No, it's not allowed, but they smuggle in the phones as well, just like in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for them, someone was asking, watoto wakiwa shule wanajuaje shule ingine imechomwa? They have phones. They smuggle phones huko. They even charge their colleagues.
Some schools have TVs and they watch news. Some schools.
Yeah. Oh, nyinyi mlikuwa mna watch news?
We did watch news.
Walikuwa shule ya nini?
A very big school in Western.
Wale wa kipaumbele. Yeah. All right. So Kirich still missing. That's a CEC for Finance, Nairobi County. Process to compensate victims of violence starts. That's a big story, and we'll see it on another front page. But questions are being asked, okay, fine. Because they're saying they have a verified list of those who suffered, including those who suffered from enforced disappearance. So tunauliza, okay, sasa mtu kama is missing and it was enforced disappearance, how would you know? Where is that list coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah? Those are the questions.
But how would you know they're missing? What if the family is lying?
How would we know? How do you verify that someone's kin is missing if they're yet to be found?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if they come back after they are compensated? Because unajua utapata familia imesema huyu alipotea, lakini wanaambia the kin just stay there, don't come now. Then the money comes in and then they're back.
Or is it an admission by police that yes, it was us who enforced that disappearance? Yeah? And what does that mean? All right. Other stories, untouchables inside cabinet where failure gets rewarded. Yeah, hiyo story nyingine huko. On the back page, matters World Cup 2026. Diallo lifts Ivorians against Ecuador as Curacao gets harsh German lessons. So some of the recent results: Sweden beat Tunisia. That's an African country. 5-1. Hey, bana, ni mwanzo tu. Sweden wana ubaya mingi. Sasa hii si masaa ya kupiga watu bao 5. Ngojea muone kama mtafika quarters.
They're showing off.
But Sweden wako na ule jamaa wa Arsenal. Itwa Gyökeres. That's why they do what they do. Ni Arsenal too everywhere, you know. It's just Arsenal. Cote d'Ivoire meanwhile beat Ecuador 1-0. The Netherlands drew with Japan 2-2. And Germany whitewashed Curacao 7-1. Hiyo ni whitewash. Babao 7. Amoni uni show off. Tuliza boli bana. Ngojea bado. France seeking payback as they tackle Senegal. Senegal, I'm sure they will receive a lot of... If you look at the teams, Senegal, Sadio Mane against France's Kylian Mbappe, you're tempted to actually support Senegal. Yeah. Mbappe has become very arrogant of late, but I still have a soft spot for Le Bleu of France. That's a standard today.
All right, now that you made mention of the compensation, let's continue from there. Daily Nation, all right, ayo ni nyingine. 2 billion shillings payout for over 1,000 protest victims. That's not the main story, but iko hapa chini. The president is quoted here. He said, "Let me also be clear about what these payments are and what they are not. They are not the price of a life, of pain, or of loss. No figure could ever be. That more than 1,000 victims of human rights violations, including police brutality and the use of excessive force by state agents, will receive compensation after the government approved a reparations program for which 2 billion shillings has been set aside. The highest payout is to the families of those killed by police, including during anti-government demonstrations, with each set to get at least 2.5 million shillings as compensation for loss of life." During the launch of the framework for the compensation yesterday, President William Ruto described the development as beginning of the end of a painful chapter in the country's history. This story has been captured on page 6, and the breakdown of how the money will be paid out has also been outlined on the front page right here. Fatal shootings, death in custody or during demonstrations, that one is 2.5 million plus medical expenses, right? Enforced disappearances, hiyo ndio tunasema, lakini hii imepata pesa mingi sana. 1.5 million shillings. Minimum. Now the question is, what if now they come back? How do we figure out who got lost, who disappeared?
Or is it people who were arrested and then they came out and confirmed that it is indeed police who are holding them for longer periods?
Abductions.
Yes. They're not calling them abductions. Yeah, they're calling them enforced disappearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
is this an admission? Yeah. So this is an admission by the police that they were actually conducting the abductions. Those are the enforced disappearance. What else would you call enforced disappearance in Kenya? And it's verified, because they're saying all this would be paid to verified cases. Yeah. How else do you verify that it was enforced disappearance?
Another one is loss of business. The minimum you get is 100,000 Kenyan shillings. Imagine biashara yako umeweka pale town, business worth say 5 million Kenyan shillings. Then it was vandalized during the protest, and then now you're compensated with 100,000 shillings. Yes.
A whole supermarket was touched.
A lot of them in Naivasha.
So you can imagine 100,000 bob. No, but they say minimum. That's what they say. Oh no, that one is not. It's not minimum. That's the only money you'll be given. Loss of business, 100,000.
Yeah.
Hope ulikuwa na insurance.
All right. Other quick headlines here. Court orders don't matter to them, and these guys are here on the front page. Supremacy battle. Cases revive recent conflict between judiciary and executive. Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale is here battling charges of advancing US-backed Ebola facility in violation of court orders. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi fighting contempt proceedings for duty-free rice imports that breach decree. Attorney General Dorcas Oduor named in the Ebola facility proceedings of alleged non-compliance with disclosures order. Defense Principal Secretary Patrick Mariru faces contempt claims over delayed payments to 1982 attempted coup torture victims. Forestry Principal Secretary Gitonga Mogambi accused of defying court order halting construction of an airstrip in Imenti Forest. And Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja in trouble after police erected barbed wire barricades to block protesters from the city centers. So court orders don't matter to these guys here. That is a story captured on page 4 and 5. Critics argue the trend of disregarding decrees that those in authority find a nuisance is setting a dangerous precedent and risks taking the country down a slippery path to anarchy. Wanaona ni kama they're above the law. Israel lifts Ebola ban on travelers from Kenya after protests. Yes, walikuwa wametuweka kwa hiyo list ya watu ambao hawafai ku travel to Israel. Kenya,
why would you
Uganda.
Think they would do that if Kenya has no single case?
See, Ebola, we want to bring that facility here in Laikipia. What else? What other reason? But of course, we are not in the list anymore. Rwanda pia imetolewa, and you can travel to Israel if you want. Ni kama kusema come if you want.
Yeah, come on, back window. Right now, Israel is at war with them. Why would I want to do that? But anyway.
Our Kenyan students beat 210,000 rivals to win Global ICT title. That's another special coverage on page 3 of this newspaper. On the back page, Senegal seek a repeat of 2002 heroics against France tonight. Group 1 co-favorites France in action at the 82,000-seater MetLife Stadium from 10 p.m. That's the Daily Nation.
All right, let's take a look at the People Daily. Some politics here. Ruto's 2027 playbook, the political power of state funds. President, who framed himself as a champion for ordinary citizens in 2022, has rolled out a number of money-laden programs that are not only economic tools, but also potential assets that could influence voter behavior in coming elections. They've listed them here. The Hustler Fund, the Nyota Fund, there's a Women Empowerment Fund, kuna ingine hapa, the National Infrastructure Fund, and of course, Social Health Authority. So these are just some of the, according to this paper, some of the programs that this president has spearheaded. And according to them, this may have a major play into next year's elections. But Hustler Fund, Nyota Fund, even Women Empowerment Fund, these funds that you're not required to pay back. Many people are saying these are simply handouts. Yeah. Unangojea unakula hiyo pesa alafu unasema well tutajua vile kutaenda mbele.
Yeah.
Because like for the example, the Nyota Fund, you're not required to pay back. The Hustler Fund, people have decided we are not paying back. Yeah.
There's no proper strategy to track how these funds are spent.
Yes. I don't know if the Women Empowerment Funds, how it's performing. SHA, we know the story. The National Infrastructure Fund, a lot has been said about that, and probably Now, this is what they call Ruto's 2027 Playbook, the political power of state funds. Other stories here, still more politics. How Farouk Kibet is shaping the political narrative in Western Kenya. The president's aide has been spending a lot of time, quite a lot of time in Western Kenya. And it looks like he's the one spearheading the president's campaigns in that part of the country. So how he's doing, you can read that on page 2. And MPs raise alarm over rise in missing children cases. As we continue celebrating the Day of the African Child, this is a big concern in Kenya, and it's been discussed at the National Assembly level as well. The number of Kenyan children who are missing, and no one knows where they are. That's on page 6 as well. That's the People Daily.
All right, Taifa Leo, Mulembe Yapiganiwa, wanasema ni kivumbi. Makundi mawili makuu hasimu katika uchaguzi mkuu ujao yakiongozwa na Rais Ruto kwa upande mmoja na upinzani yaamua kupeleka vita magharibi, kila moja likitaka kushawishi wapiga kura wa huko waliunge mkono. Wikendi kisadfa, makundi hayo yalipiga kampeni kali ya siku 3. Ni nani atashawishi kura nyingi ya Mulembe? Serikali na muungano wa upinzani wakita kambi magharibi kuwania mamilioni ya kura za ukanda huo mwaka ujao. Umesema Faruka huko anafanya 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, lakini tuliwaona pia wale viongozi wa upinzani Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa walikuwa pale mwishoni wa wiki jana.
Yeah.
They spent quite some time in Western Kenya while the president was there. So it's official. The scramble for Western Kenya is officially on.
Yeah. Na sasa hiyo kitu ya elusive Luhya unity?
Sababu ni wewe na shida. Elusive Luhya unity. So when you're scrambling, but that's a proper scramble then, because there's a axis. They call it the Bukusu axis.
Yeah.
There's Vihiga, there's Kakamega.
Yeah.
So if it's a proper scramble, then everyone can have a piece of the cake from there in as far as votes are concerned. It's a proper scramble. If you see the president and the opposition leaders, both groups in one region at the same time, pale kuna kitu.
Vidokezo zaidi, ukaidi wa serikali sasa wasikitisha mapuuza ya maagizo ya koti hasa kuhusu msitu Imenti na ujenzi wa kituo cha Ebola ya Kera. That story we've talked about on the front page of the Daily Nation as well. Senegal versus France, ni nani mkali? Ni swali wanauliza katika ukurasa wa 13 wa gazeti hili. Wahanga wa maandamano kulipwa donge, that talks about compensation. Kule juu zaidi, afueni Iran na Amerika wakiafikiana katika mkataba huo wa amani, mlango bahari wa Hormuz sasa utafunguliwa. Taifa Leo.
All right, let's take a look at the Business Daily, because today the Star, and it's being Tuesday, it should be the free copy of the Star. We had to get it, not the physical copy or the e-paper. I don't know what's going on there. So Business Daily, World Bank snubs Kenya emergency loan request. Tushaanza kutafuta loan. Na tumenyimwa. Crisis financing not part of the agenda to be considered. Funds were to help manage the economic shocks of the Iran war. Kenya will miss out on emergency financing from the World Bank to cushion the country from the economic fallout brought by the Middle East war, with the multilateral lender instead considering Nairobi's earlier request for a $750 million loan. So komsa. Hiyo imekataliwa, lakini loan bado inakuja tu. Other highlights on the front page of this paper. This is a Business Daily. New 10 billion shilling fuel subsidy piles cash flow pressures on marketers. So kuna ile tumerudi kwa subsidy tu. Yeah. Ile 10,000 reduction on diesel, it was thanks to this subsidy. And remember, kuna ile ingine imekuja after EPRA reviewed the fuel prices on Sunday. So at least 20 shillings from what we had last month. Kenya plans wider ban on shisha imports. Wale wavutaji wa shisha. Kutakuwa na ban sasa. Hiyo gazeti imesema. And KCB Group sacks 60 as it steps war on fraud. Steps up war on fraud. KCB Group. Kunani kule? Gazeti la Business Daily. So let's go regional.
All right, we have the Star now.
Hii Star munaweka pale. This is a Star that was here yesterday. Today being Tuesday, usually it's not for sale.
Yes.
Kwa hivyo mmepotea, mko nje. Tuvuke boda tuone wanazungumzia nini kule Uganda. Daily Monitor, where is the law? Maswala ya abduction. In Kenya kuna compensation ya even enforced disappearances. You know, actually, headlines in Uganda and Kenya usually mirror each other. Or whatever, you would actually, if you blocked that Monitor and you just say Daily, it could just be Daily Nation. Yeah. Where is the law, they ask? The abduction of lawyer and former Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago and a number of others by armed men in military uniform has dealt a body blow to the country's rule of law, casting a long shadow and dredging up of memories from the dark days the NRM once claimed to have buried when they marched out of the bush 40 years ago. So same claims, disappearances, enforced disappearances and abductions in Kenya and in Uganda. At least in Kenya, we're saying we're compensating them. That's the main story there on the front page of the Daily Nation. Of the Daily Monitor, sorry. New vision still in Uganda. Government overhauls CEO deputies recruitment. And President Museveni tasks new cabinet on economy. Main stories there. All right. Would you want to take a look at the ones in Tanzania? Start off in Mwananchi.
Alright, tuangalie gazeti la Mwananchi sasa. Wabunge wagusa matobo ya bajeti, walia na kodi mpya za pikipiki, magari chakavu, wakisema ni kuongeza umasikini kwa vijana. Ni habari tu katika ukurasa wa 4 wa gazeti hili. Daladala zaondolewa kiaina, njia ya Mbagala kupisha mwendo kasi. Kiaina. Alright, idadi ya mabasi yaliyoingizwa na Moffat kwa ajili ya kutoa huduma njia ya Mbagala ni 200, lakini yanayotumika kwa sasa ni 50 pekee kule Tanzania. Ulikuwa umetuambia The Citizen?
Yeah, Citizen bado sijaangazia.
Ama hawako?
Wako.
Alright, let's hear. MPs sound alarm over growing budget risks. These are members of parliament in Tanzania. They've raised concern over mounting fiscal pressure on the government, warning that a widening financing gap in the universal health insurance scheme, rising public debt and weaknesses in project preparations could undermine the sustainability of key national programs. Transport shift as Daladalas moved to Mbagala BRT hub. That's another story. And when students swap studies for the allure of mining. It's a story captured on page 2. Kule juu, government pushes for more private investment in clean energy. And that's the dailies in Tanzania this morning. You realize in Tanzania there's a lot of talk and discussion about the budget making process. I don't know why we've moved on. In Kenya, we're no longer talking about the budget on the front pages. Neither is Uganda. Yeah. Remember, all the 3 budgets were presented before the respective parliaments on Thursday last week. Today, we're going to be having the budget estimates and the finance bill tabled officially before the National Assembly for debate. So it is a big discussion. Matters budget. In Tanzania, they're talking about it. Kenya ni kama tumesahau kidogo. Lakini sisi hatujasahau. Budget has to be discussed right here on State of the Nation TV 47. We'll be doing that later on. Let's take a look at the cartoons. The caricature on page 17 of the Daily Nation.